Port St Lucie, Florida. It is one of the fastest growing cities, not only in Florida, but in the entire US. So obviously there are a lot of major pros of living in this area, but there are some significant cons that you should be aware of if you're thinking of moving here. So this video will be my official top 5 pros and cons of living in Port St Lucie, Florida. Coming up right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to Living in Port St Lucie, Florida. This YouTube channel is your guide to living in the Port St Lucie area and the Treasure Coast area in general in beautiful, sunny Florida. My name is Mark. I'm a real estate agent, and if you are looking to buy or sell any real estate in the Port St Lucie, Stewart, Jensen Beach, anywhere really along the Treasure Coast, we have got you covered. All of our team's contact information is in the description below. We would love to hear from you. You can book a Zoom call us on the phone, text us, email us, whatever you want to do, but we have people reaching out all the time to help them relocate to the Treasure Coast, and we absolutely love it. So make sure you reach out today. All right, so today I'm going to be giving you my top 5 pros and cons of living in Port St Lucie. Obviously, we're big fans of the area. We think it's a fantastic place to live, but there are also some cons that you should be aware of. Maybe you're making your decision, what part of Florida you want to be in. Maybe you're choosing between 2 cities to relocate to. So hopefully this video will give you some insight of the good, what we love about Port St Lucie, but also some of the negatives that you do want to be aware of. So let's get right into it. My top 5 pros and cons of living in Port St Lucie, Florida. All right, pro number 1 of living in this area is going to be golf. If you're a golf fan, you could do a lot worse in Port St Lucie. Now, you think of Florida, I think in general you think of great golf, but really Port St Lucie in particular has not only lots of options, but lots of high quality options for golf, whether it's for recreation or whether it's part of your everyday lifestyle, having a course in your community, subdivision, and neighborhood. There are a lot of options for great golf in PSL. In particular, I want to point out PGA Village, which is in Port St Lucie, and obviously this is living centered around golf. There are multiple private courses and public courses, extremely high quality, beautiful clubhouse, and just all day, every day golfing facilities from the pros. A lot of big names play there on occasion. So you have PGA's own village, PGA's community, which there aren't too many of in Port St Lucie. If you're a person who just needs golf in their life at any given time, this is definitely a community that you want to look at buying in. So you have that available to you. But even outside of PGA, if you're looking for a public course, there's no shortage of them. So if you're visiting from out of town, you just got to get a quick 9 holes in, or maybe you're going to make a day of it with your friends. Yes, there's plenty of private options, high-end options for those of us who live here and participate in the communities, but great public options, great easy in and out golf options. So if you're a golf lover, you're going to have plenty of options no matter what the scenario is living in PSL. All right, my first con is you're a little further from the beach. Okay, now this is splitting hairs a little bit because you're still an easy 20 to 30 minute drive in most areas to get to the beach. So not that big of a deal, but a little different than if you're living in Jensen Beach. If you're in Martin County, you can be a little bit closer to the water. At the Stewart, the access is going to be right there. So PSL, you're moving inland a little bit, you're just a little bit further away. So if you're, we talked about golf, if you're that beach person, if you need to be practically on the water at all times, maybe Port St Lucie isn't the place that you look. I mean, really, it's a pro and a con at the same time because, listen, you do have access to fabulous beaches living in Port St Lucie. They're just not right at your fingertips like in many other neighborhoods close by. So I did want to mention that as a slight con. All right, pro number 2 for living in Port St Lucie, I have fine dining. Now, fine dining can be hit or miss in Florida, depending on how close you are to a major city where there's lots of people and money and fine dining establishments, right? I'm not talking about just good cheap eats. I'm talking about a really nice date night. Well, Port St. Lucie does have a great range of options for fine dining. If you're a foodie, you're gonna be good to go at Port St. Lucie, whereas maybe some of the other neighborhoods that I just mentioned being closer to the water, in my experience, not that you can't get a good meal, but you're gonna get a lot of chains, you're gonna get a lot of typical bar style food, and it can be a little bit harder to find that great restaurant for a date night. But that's not the case in Port St. Lucie. You're gonna have plenty of high-end restaurant options no matter what you're looking for. So one of the main benefits of living in Port St. Lucie, especially with all the growth, all the development in the area, is fine dining, getting that date night in with your significant other and having a great restaurant experience. All right, con number 2, I have traffic. Now, if you've lived here for any significant period of time, you've watched it. You've watched it get absolutely out of control, which is the blessing and the curse of how much Port St. Lucie is growing, right? With all the new developments, the communities, the businesses you have being built in the area, the infrastructure work, the traffic has really gotten pretty bad. Now, I'm not talking, crazy like a Washington, D.C. or in LA, but there's always something going. There's always construction. There's always some kind of road work or development or building going on, detours, and of course your typical traffic jams during rush hours. So depending on where you're coming from, if you've been living in this area already, you're probably pulling your hair out in regards to the traffic, but maybe you're coming from a bigger city and you might be like, well, this isn't really that bad. So this is gonna come down to a little bit of what you're used to, but I will say traffic can be pretty crazy all around Port St. Lucie, just by virtue of how much growth and development is going on in this area. So you're visiting, you live here, be prepared. The traffic is a little crazy. All right, pro number 3, I have growth, which we just talked about. So growth is good and bad, right? But if you've been living in Port St. Lucie, if you've owned a home here, especially for a while, you've got to be very happy with the growth in this area, both from a perspective of your home value, but also of the sheer amount of things to do, right? We talked about how this is one of the fastest growing cities, not only in Florida, but in the country. So obviously that means a significant increase year over year for home values, which puts equity in a lot of homeowners' pockets. It also can make things tough for people who are looking to rent. But overall growth is typically a good thing. There are more things to do in this area. There are more places to live. There is more tax revenue. Hopefully that will go back in and continue to develop the infrastructure. But this is a growing city. So although that can obviously bring some headaches along the way, you want your city, your neighborhood to be growing, for the values to go up, for there to be new things to do. So hopefully that will continue to go in the right direction. But a major pro of living in Port St. Lucie is just how fast it's growing and how fast it's going to continue to grow. All right, my number 3 con is growth. Right, so just talked about how growth is a blessing and a curse, talked about the traffic that is coming from the growth, but with all the new developments, all the businesses, with all the people moving here, the traffic gets crazy. There are more people around. It's more crowded in some instances. There's construction everywhere. And of course, things are getting more expensive. Home values are rising with that, property taxes, and just the general cost of living. One of the downsides of massive growth in an area, especially quick growth, is the living expenses can rapidly rise. So although I think it's still a great affordable place to live, especially compared to some other cities in Florida, Port St. Lucie is not getting any cheaper, right? To rent, to own, to live, do your day-to-day life, the amenities, the shopping, the eating, all of these things, because of the growth in people and developments, these things are going to continue to rise. So with growth comes more people, comes more traffic, comes more expenses. So it is both a blessing and a curse. All right, pro number 4, I have activities for the whole family. And this is one of my favorite things about Port St. Lucie, but it's not one kind of town. You can get so many different experiences living here depending on what you and your kids like to do. So just to name a few of the family favorites here. So you got the St. Lucie Mets, which is, the New York Mets farm team playing in Port St. Lucie. It's a great night out to go to a ball game, either by yourself, with friends, or take the kiddos catch a game. It's high level baseball. The stadium is absolutely beautiful, not as expensive as if you were to take it to MLB, and you get to see a lot of pros when you go to these games. You think you're just going to see the minor leaguers. Well, anytime, Jacob deGrom or one of the other Mets gets hurt and has to do a rehab, they're going to be playing in Port St Lucie, and you can get a chance to see some of the greats at a discount. This is one of the best things to take your kids to. You've also got Urban Air, which is super popular with the kiddos. A beautiful indoor trampoline adventure space where the kids can get out their energy. So this is a hugely popular thing for the kids in the community. It's great to have it here. Really cool. Check it out if you haven't already. Urban Air in Port St Lucie. We've also got a Club Med facility in Port St Lucie, which is, I think there's only 7 in the entire world now. This is maybe a little bit more of a tourist destination, people coming usually from out of the country, honestly, to enjoy this. But, you can get a day pass to Club Med for, I think, around $70 or $80. Spend the entire day there. There's a bunch of pools, there's beaches, there's tons of things to do. There's usually a buffet included with that day pass. So listen, we're talking about things to do for the family. It can be fun to go to a resort for a day and feel like, you're on a real vacation, even though you're going to be coming back at the end of the day. And of course, you got the beach, right? You don't want to underestimate that. If you're just wanting to hang out at the beach, that's usually a fun family for the whole activity to do. Maybe you have older kids, you're getting them into the hunting. There's plenty of great hunting in Port St Lucie. RVs, you can rent an RV. There's plenty of places to do that. So, it doesn't matter what type of family you have, how old the kids are, or, even if you don't have a family at all, there are just a lot of things to do. There's a lot of recreation. There are a lot of amenities. Obviously, there's tons of fishing, either offshore or hopping on a boat and spending the day there fishing. So you just have unlimited options for things to do. You really should not get bored. There's tons of fun, family-friendly activities all over Port St Lucie. All right, con number 4 is a bit of a nitpick, but if you're used to a city with a real traditional downtown area where everything is centered around a walkable area where all the shops exist, you don't really get that in Port St Lucie. It's just a bit more sprawled out, right? And so you've got master plan communities like Tradition with a little town center in it. You've got that all over the place. You've got little communities within Port St Lucie that will have a smaller downtown, or probably more accurately called just a walkable area with shops, things to do. So you have that, it's just spread out, right? It's not like many other cities that you might be used to where everything is centered around the downtown. Maybe there's a big green space or amphitheater. Okay, those things exist, just not in one central location. So it's a bit nitpicking, but if you're thinking about, moving to this area and having a very traditional town or city where there's a walkable downtown area, doesn't really exist in PSL. It's broken up into different sections. So you're gonna have to drive to where you wanna spend some time, drive to another place where you wanna spend some time. That's just the way it's laid out here. All right, pro number 5, I already mentioned a lot of this already, but lifestyle diversity, right? I talked about all the different activities for kids, no matter what type of family you have, no matter the age of the kids, but really you have a diverse range of lifestyles in PSL. If you're a retired person coming down, you wanna live in a golf community at PGA, we've got that. If you're a family raising kids in PSL, you need good schools, you need safety, you need good amenities and things to do with the kids, we've got that as well. If you're a big outdoors person, right, I just mentioned, we have the hunting, we have the fishing, we have the RV parks, to anything related to nature, being outside, we have you covered there. If you're looking just to get away, just to visit, you're on vacation and you need to get away for a few days, obviously it could be a great spot. Maybe you stay a few days at Club Med. And of course, if you're looking to buy a home in PSL, you can have any kind of lifestyle that you want. You want an HOA community? Great. You want to be in a nice HOA community? We've got that for you. You want to be in no HOA community so people don't bother you? We've got that as well. You can be living on the water with, your boat dock in your backyard. You can have your boat parked in your front driveway if need be. If you're into only new construction, obviously there's plenty of new construction to live for. Attached living, detached living, over 55 communities. We have so many of those. So really, whatever your lifestyle is, wherever you're at in your life and whatever certain needs that you have, it's hard to imagine PSL not having an option for you. All right, and last but not least, con number 5, I do have to say the taxes in Port St Lucie are a bit higher than some of the adjacent cities. Now, the schools are typically pretty good, but the public services can get a bad rap. The building department in particular, as someone who's in real estate, I can tell you that they are not always easy to deal with. And just generally speaking, what you pay for taxes versus what you get with your public services, it's not quite on par with, say, a Martin County, which is really heralded for the quality of the schools and all the public services. Now, I'm not saying they're bad, okay? I'm just saying in comparison to some other areas that you might be considering on the Treasure Coast, PSL, a little bit higher taxes, a little bit lower quality in terms of the public services. Something to keep in mind. All right, so there you have it, my top 5 pros and cons of living in Port St Lucie, Florida. This is a fantastic place to live, to own a home, to raise a family, or just raise yourself. No matter what your situation, Port St Lucie really does have something for everyone. So hope you found that video informative. Make sure you go right into our next video about living on the Treasure Coast. This YouTube channel has so many resources for figuring out where you need to be on the Treasure Coast. And of course, when the time comes, give us a call. We would love to help you find your new home in Port St Lucie or anywhere on the Treasure Coast of Florida. My name is Mark. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.